than Mr. Larry Osei. Mr. Larry Osei. I don't know, sir, if you can hear me, please, can you indicate?
Hello, I can hear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. So you can take it up from here. We are ready to enjoy from your boils of knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just give me a second. Just give me. Hello, it's am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Yes, but your voice is a bit low. I don't know if it's from my end, but your voice is a bit low.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it's good to be here to deliver some pass on some good knowledge across board. So today, what we'll be looking at, as you rightly said, Mercy, we'll be looking at project and program management. I guess I don't think this is I don't think this is something new. I'm sure everybody is either doing one project or has been part of a program before. So I'm sure it's something that you already have an idea about. So permit me to share my slides, then I think we can take it from there. Okay, just give me a sec. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Let me put it in a point mode.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now I can see my screen. Sorry, just hold on. Okay, that's fine. I can see my screens initially here. Okay, so this is the Smart App Management Compact Program class that developed by Orlando. Okay, so this is a project and program management class, and so what we're gonna look at today is things around. It's more of a foundational class. So we're gonna look at we'll look at methodologies, project and program methodologies. We'll look at some tools that can aid you when you're doing problem monitoring, and we'll look at some real life scenarios, right? Real life scenarios of how they've actually used some project management methodology to actually help them achieve achieve success. So we'll look into some of these things. So in terms of what we are covering, we'll look at how the key rules. So for a project manager, right? We'll look at things around project management itself. We'll look at the key rules for a project manager, the team, the PMO office, what your roles are. We'll look into something we call planning and methodologies, right? So we'll look at agile, right? So what do you think agile is? What do you think a lean approach to project management is? These are some frameworks that some people use. We'll look at what PMBOK and Prince2, right? So these are also frameworks people use. So you go to an organization and they will say, what they will tell you is we adopt Prince2, right? Some you would also go to an organization and they will also tell you that they do things around PMBOK. So every organization and the type of project management, how do you call it? adaptation they actually use. So can somebody tell me from a layman's point of view what project management is all about? Please, if you can type in the chat room, that would be great. So if you can tell me what do you think a project management is all about? So no, let's say project. What do you think a project is about? Or you can unmute and speak. Anybody? Please let's be interactive. I don't think there's any wrong answer. We are here to learn. So you can actually unmute and speak, or I probably would like to also call people at random, so at least it becomes very interactive. Let's make this class interactive, right? So what I have here, right, from what I have on my slide, it says projects is a temporary endeavor undertaking to create unique product, service, or result with defined boundaries and objectives, right? So you can actually think of project. I'm sure everybody is doing a project, right? So it could be you're probably doing you are building an application. It's also a project that you are doing, because within that project there are different how do you call it? There are different stages to the end result. So the end result is the application. So if you are trying to build an application for, let's say, a school, the end result will be the application itself that will be used. So within that application, there are different stages. So that's like a project, right? So project has its own boundaries and it has its own objective. So the objective is to, so let's say you've actually defined an objective, or you've seen, let's say, an area that you think that you would want to, as much as possible, to meet, right? So in that sense, then you're looking
Hello,
at
Mr.
a
Larry.
project. Yeah, hello.
Yes, please. Your screen is kind of divided. I don't know if there is a way you can make us see just your training slide.
Okay, it has
I don't
my
know if you get what
screen.
I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So it has my
Yes,
face. Okay. Let me.
it's split. Yes,
It's
thank you.
okay. Sorry. Let me.
Yes.
Uh. So okay. So I thought you were saying. Okay. Let me stop sharing. Okay. I think it should be content only. Yes. Is that okay?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. So I saw in the chat room, I think Richmond is saying let's see, it can be a tax, a purpose to achieve goals. That's good. Thank you, Richmond. Okay, so project management. So in terms of, if you look at project management, then project management you're talking about it's talking about the knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activity to meet requirements within constraints of scope, time, cost, and quality, right? So if you actually look at a project, if you actually look at the life cycle of actually a project that you are undertaking, let me just give you a simple scenario. It's the very simple one that it's quite easy for you to understand. Let's say you're putting up a building, right? The actual end result, it's the whole building itself. So that's the whole project you're doing, right? So within the project you're doing, there's a time frame. So there's a scope of the project itself that you're doing, right? There's actually a time frame. So if you're giving yourself 2 years or 1 year to get that project done, right? So to get that building up, then you have, and there's a cost involved. There's actually cost involved. So it could be cost of labor, it could be cost of resources, it could be cost of tools, right? So these are like some specifics when you actually come to project management. Even look at some of the key characteristics that is actually mentioned here, right? So it has a defined start and a defined end, right? So all project has a defined start and a defined end. So a project needs to start and a project needs to end. So that means you are meeting its objective. You can't have a project that keeps running, right? Right. So there should be a defined date that starts, and there should be an end date, right? And it's also things around specific deliverables, right? It should give specific deliverables. So if you look here, concrete output that defines the success. So the output is what the long term, the term goal, right? It also contains things around, you're looking at cross-functional teams, diverse experts working towards a common goal. So you have different teams that is actually working together to actually to get to that point. So let's say if it's a software, you're developing a software application, let's say a banking application, and you have different teams. You have people from the management team, you have people from quality, you have people from the testing team, you have the development team that actually constitutes the project management team, right? So you have things around progressive, elaborating details emerge as the project advance. So these are things that encompasses what things around project management. So if you have any questions, you can actually ask. So if you look at the example I have below here, right? So developing an complete intranet portal with a 6-month timeline, specific features, requirement, and a budget of, let's say, $250,000 represent a classic project with a clear deliverables and boundaries. I hope this is actually clear, right? Okay. So if you also look at things around, if you look at program management, right? If you look at what we term as program management, right? So who can give me an you can, so let me ask, right? Just give me a layman's probably definition of what do you think a program is all about. You can actually unmute and let me hear your thoughts. What do you think a program is all about? Any thoughts around what a program is about? So in a simple term, you can look at a program, right, as like a group of related projects, right? So you can actually have a program that has multiple projects. So let's say, let me give you one classic, let me give you one typical classic example. Let's look at, so let's say if you are looking at, so let me bring you to, let's say a TV program, right? So let's say when you have, back in the days when they would actually come out with, let's say the TV station will come out with a program lineup for the whole day, right? You would actually have, you could see that as a program that will actually line up for the whole day, and it will have different shows that are within that same program. So that is what a program is all about, right? So program has different how do you call it, related projects. So in this, since you are looking at project management, we are looking at a program is a group of related projects, subsidiary programs, and program activities managed in a coordinated manner to obtain benefits not available from them individually, right? So this is how programs are about, right? So if you look at the characteristics of a program, then we are looking at a strategic focus. You can look at align with long-term organizational goals, right? So if you look at, it's like, so you're gonna have a program that spans let's say 2 years, and within that 2 years, right, within that 2-year period, you're gonna have different projects within that program that will meet the end strategic goal, right? So if you look at the key characteristics, you can see strategies for align with long-term goals, align with long-term organizational goals, right? The second point has to do with ongoing or coordination, continuous management of multiple initiatives, right? So there can be multiple initiatives that can actually come up from the organization. So within a whole program, right? The third characteristics of a program, right, has to be interdependent managing, handling connections between projects. So there can be a coordination, interdependency within the different projects that would actually achieve what a program is meant to be, right? So if you look at things around benefit realization, delivery measures, and business values, right? So I've given a classic example of what, so this is like a classic example of what a a program is all about. So if you look at what I have here, it says an enterprise cloud management program, which includes separate projects for infrastructure setup, right? So you're looking at, so let's say your organization is planning a migration program, right? From so let's say if you had an on-prem environment and currently you're trying to migrate into a cloud project. Within that program, there are different projects that needs to be done to actually realize the enterprise cloud migration program. So it has to do with things that, so if you look at the different, so these are like different projects within the program itself. So you can look at infrastructure setup and migration. That's a whole project on its own. If you look at things around application modernization, that's a whole project on its own. If you look at employee training and change management, that's a different project on its own. If you look at things around data security and compliance, that's actually a whole project on it. So this actually speaks to what a project management is all about. If you have any questions, you can please ask. Okay, so my next slide talks about project versus program. So I'm just trying to give you like a distinct I'm trying to just give you a distinct understanding what a program and a project is, right? So in terms of scope, so let's do it like a breakdown. If you look at a program, right? If you look at project, so let's look at project first. If you look at the scope of a project, so if you look at what this thing says, it says a project is actually specific, right? Narrow deliverables with a defined boundaries, right? So as I usually give that example of you building a house, right? So it's the main idea is to get the building, right? So it has a specific. So that's in terms of specific, it's to put up a building, right? If you look at in terms of narrow deliverables with defined boundaries, at least the boundaries when you're actually building a house, right? If you look at what a program is all about, you look at broad strategic objectives spanning multiple initiatives. So if you are doing a program, if it's a whole day program, like I give you a classic example of a TV program, right? It's a whole day program and it has different how do you call it? Different activities, right? So let's say different projects within that program, right? So if you look at in terms of duration, in terms of a duration of a project, then it's temporal with clear dates and end dates, right? So there's a clear date, clear start time, and clear end date. If you look at program spans for years, right? You have a program that could span for, let's say, a 2-year or a 3-year project, because there are different phases. There are actually different phases in that there are different phases in that program to be able to achieve the objective, right? In terms of, if you look at focus, right? In terms of output and deliverables, right? So this is more of a functional product. This from a program perspective, then we're looking at benefit and output, things around market share. We're looking at cost savings. So let's look at it from that aspect, right? In terms of change, right? If you can look at things around, what he states is it's minimize changes to stay on track, right? So in terms of the project, there might be minimal changes within that project. But if you look at a whole program, then there's like multiple. There are a lot of multiple changes that can actually happen within a program to actually realize the benefits that you're actually looking at. So in terms of the project versus a program, this is what you actually look at. And I use it as a classic example that has to do with building a website and we are looking at things around digital transformative initiative. So even if you look at the word, right, digital transformation initiative. So it's not before you can actually get that initiative right. There are different phases that you would have to go to be able to get this thing sorted out. So that's a clear distinction between what a project is and what a program is. Any questions so far? Okay.
No questions. I understand what you said. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Okay. So moving to my next slide. So this, in terms of, so this is what I say, project planning essentials, right? In terms of, so if you're doing project planning, these are some of the steps that you actually will take, right? There's always a scope statement, right? That actually clearly defines what the project is all about, right? In terms of the criteria of the project, the constraint that would set in within a project, things around. So let's give a scope. So can somebody give me a scope of a project, right? Per what I have on a scope. Can somebody just give me just an idea of what a scope statement of a project would actually be? Anybody
A
want to try?
scope is all about okay. A scope is all about what the project is all about,
Okay.
how the project can be achieved, and what are the outcome expected of the project.
Okay. Okay. That's right. Thank you, Daniel, for that. For that contribution. That's you're classically right. So normally a project is all about you defining the scope. So let's say if we're building, let's say we are building a website, right? So the scope of of that project will be the website we actually putting up across. So that's actually the scope, and the things that would actually go into the project itself in terms of document deliverables, things around acceptable criteria, the boundaries and the constraint, right? Within that whole uh, project itself. So if you look at the second project planning essentials, things around work breakdown structure, right? That talks about how the project is going to be like. So this I can probably say is more around like the plan, right? So in terms of the plan, the plan would have to be with that will be have things that actually go into the project itself. So if you look here, so a project is put into manageable work packages, right? Break down deliverables into smaller assignable tasks, create foundation for scheduling, budgeting, and resource. So things around how you actually will break down the project into smaller bits where you actually would assign resources to all those bits and pieces within the project, right? In terms of schedule and milestones, right? Establish timelines, skill milestones, and dependency, right? Within project, there are actually schedules, right? There are schedules and there are times that, as a project, you are actually meant to meet, right? So let's say at the initiation of the, let's say the project, right? So let's say this project is meant to you have, let's say, 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks to come up with, let's say, the initial probably gap assessment of that project. Then you should be able to meet that 2 weeks period, right? So break down deliverables into smallable and assignable tasks, create the foundation of scheduling, budgeting, and I actually also help with things around resource allocation, right? So in terms of budget, right? For every project, there's always a budget. That is actually key. Without a budget, the whole project the whole project will actually fail, right? You're gonna have a project without a budget, right? So things around cost. So you can look at things around, and if you look at a budget, there are two. You can look at things around capex, opex, right? There are operating expenditure, and we also have things around capital expenditure, right? Around when it comes to actually budgeting. So estimated cost for resources, materials, and services. So these are like, let's say we're looking at cost of, let's say the development, their in terms of their cost, in terms of, let's say, resources. If it's their development tools that you need to buy, you also need to take those into consideration. And this budget, right? You should be before the project even start. There should be a budget. So you would have drawn up that budget for the whole project. At least the project manager should actually understand the cost of that whole project, right? So we are looking at estimated cost for resources, materials, and service allocated budget across the packages, right? So this is actually key when it for some of this project. A lot of projects fail to actually even kick off or to actually even finish because of problems when it comes to budgeting, right? So that is actually key. We should also look at things around risk plan, right? Identify potential issues that could impact the success of the project, right? You know, for risk is actually futuristic. So when you're looking at risk is actually futuristic, and you should be as a project manager. There's a lot of things that you should actually foresee within the project, right? That would encompass that would impact the project itself. So you should look at things, right, assess the likelihood of probably a threat to the whole project and the impact that it would actually cause, right? So develop things around mitigation strategies to actually encompass when some of these threats or some of these risks happen when during project management, right? So let's look at any questions so far. Any questions? Any contributions? Okay. Let's look at, so I've defined some key roles within a project. So we have the project manager. We also have the project sponsor. We have the team members, and we also have their stakeholders, right? There's also I think I missed some key some very key how do you call it, roles. No, so like there should also be like the project management office, right, and its functions, right. So if you look here, the project manager, these are the key responsibilities. So his responsibility has to do with lead all aspect of project execution, right? So this is his these are his responsibility. Things around develop a comprehensive project plan, right? Coordinating the activities and resources, manage scope, schedule and budget, right? Communicate with stakeholders, right? In terms of the communication with stakeholders in terms of progress of the project, right? So updating stakeholders of the how do you call it, the progress of the project. Things around identify any mitigating risks. That is his key responsibility, ensuring quality standards are actually met within the project. So that is the key. This is actually the key role of a project manager. If you look at the role of a project sponsor, right? So a project sponsor is the person that actually sponsors the project itself, right? So his roles is provide strategic direction and support for the project that is actually ongoing, right? So what the project sponsor does is he does things around securing funding, right, for the project, right? In terms of he approves the scope and major changes that's within the project, because he's actually the financer of the whole project, resolve and escalate issues. So when there are issues within the project management with the project sponsor would escalate those issues, right? Ensures alignment with the business strategy. So there should be alignment with the project that is actually being taken in place with that. So there should be, you can't develop, there shouldn't be, so if you are doing a project, there should be an alignment with a business strategy, right? So you can't be developing a project on its own without any business alignment, right? Otherwise, once the project is actually done, right, it becomes an elephant project with no clear goals, with no clear directions, right? So as part of his responsibilities, things around champion project at the executive level, right? So that is part of his role. Things around makes final decisions on trade-off, right? So these are like the rules for the project sponsor. If you look at the team members, so team members are the people who do the operational. They actually handle things around the operational work, right? So execute project tasks and deliverable. So they handle things around the everyday operations of the whole project itself, right? If you look at stakeholders, so provide inputs and requirements. So define needs and expectation, review deliverables and projects. So stakeholders are the people that you're actually doing the project for. So let's say for a typical organization, right? Let me give you one classic example. So let's say a bank, right? Let's say the customer service team. They are looking at they are looking at a CRM platform to actually help them manage their customers, right? So they are the stakeholders. So they actually will define how do you call it, the deliverables, the needs and expectations around what they want, and they would actually give that whole thing to the project team, right, to actually deliver, right? And in terms of a project sponsor, he would actually sponsor some of this project. So in essence, if you look at this, so you can look at things around review the needs. So if you look here, you can look, they also do things around support change management effort, communicate constraints and dependency, accept final deliverables, right? So they would look at the final deliverable of the CRM application, whether it meets the requirement, and it actually. So the last one, if you look at the realized project benefit, whether it actually meets the requirement itself, right? Any questions around the key rules when it comes to project management? Any questions so far? Okay, so in delivering, how do you call it? In delivering projects, right? There's an agile approach, right? So there are different approaches to how you actually would deliver a project. So there's an agile approach. So who can tell me who understand what an agile project agile is all about?
Yeah, hello.
This is the first time hearing about Agile.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, hello.
Yeah, in my own view, I think it's all about changing approach or strategy
Okay.
as situations changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what he meant is, so let's say if the situation happens, then they would change the approach. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
it depends what you're managing, and if the event on ground cause that you change your strategy, the
Okay.
management should be um, fast enough to adapt and change also strategy.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other views? Any other views? Any other views? Okay, so if you look here, what it says, right? Agile is an iterative, right? It's an iterative, flexible methodology designed for projects. Let me read what it says here and give an explanation into it. So, what is agile, right? Agile is an iterative, flexible methodology designed for project management with evolving requirement of high. So rather than delivering everything at once, agile breaks works into smaller incremental deliverables frequently, allowing team to adapt based on feedbacks and changes, right? So an agile approach is based on what it says. So when you're doing a project, right, we are using an agile approach. It's breaking the whole project into smaller incremental deliverables. So instead of running, let's say, a whole project, so like a whole phase, right? You actually will break it down, and then you actually will build up upon on that. So at least it's you break the whole project into bits, right? And how do you call it? Allow team members to actually adapt. So if you look at things around if you look at the core agile manifesto, right? If you look at what I have here in terms of core agile manifesto values, right? You look at individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Sorry, please just give me a second. Apologies, just give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. So if you look at, right, agile, right, as I already said, right, so it's you breaking down the project, right, into smaller incremental deliverables. So you break the project down into smaller bits. So at least you have different team members actually working on those projects, right? It actually makes it quite easy for them to actually finish that phase and build upon the next phase. So if you look at what you have here, so it looks like in over processes and tools. If you look at working so over comprehensive documentation. If you look at customer collaboration, over contract negotiation, respond to changes over following what's the name, a rigid plan, right? So if you look at this, we have the diagram we have there is the carbon dashboard. So if you look at the dashboard, you can see they've actually broken. Let's say it's a whole project, then they've actually broken down into smaller bits. So once that the project team completes that project, then they move on to the different projects. So they don't look at finishing a whole line of project before they move into another project. So this actually makes it quite easy for the project manager to actually micromanage those projects, right? Okay. So let's look at the lean approach, right? So what do you think a lean approach would be? So with the lean approach, this approach was those in the early 90s. It was actually adopted by I think it was actually adopted by Toyota. I think they looked at how to work using this lean approach. So it was actually developed. So if you look, originally developed by the manufacturing by Toyota, lean principle have been also adopting project management. So they adopted that lean approach to project management, right? So you look at defined values. So in terms of, so if you look at the core lean principles, you can look at these things, right? Define values, identify customer truly value and are willing to pay for. Focus all activities on creating that value. Anything else is a waste. So everything is you identifying the core values of the project. Anything otherwise is waste. So in terms of lean, the classic example is how to actually cut waste on the whole project, right? So let's say if they ask you to develop, let's say, so let me give you one example. So if they ask you to, let's say, build an application, right? So, let's say a website, right? Let's say a static website. The idea is to build that static website, not to add any interaction. So it's identifying what the customer actually wants and getting that same thing for the person, so to avoid wastages, right? So if you look at the second point, map the value stream, document every step in your process from start to finish, identify which step add values and which step would create waste, right? So these are the principles when it comes to lean. When it actually comes to lean, what's the name? The lean approach to project management, right? If you look at the third flow, create a flow, eliminate interruptions and delays, ensure works move smoothly through the process without bottlenecks or waiting, right? So within the lean approach, they are putting things in place to actually make sure that coming out of the project, anything that has to do with waste, they actually would eliminate this thing. So if you look at what has been, if you look at, and if you come down, if you look further down, types of ways to eliminate, right? So you're looking at things around overproduction, creating more than is needed, right? So what Toyota was their main focus was to create what is the need, right? You don't create more than what the client actually wants. So if the client wants a pen, if the client wants a biro, you create a biro for the pen, no other features, just the biro, right? So if you look at in terms of types of wastage eliminated, right? You look at idle time between steps. So because they actually cut down the waste, there's no idle time between the steps, right? Unnecessary movement, right? Things around transportation, over processing, right? Doing more than required, right? If you look at things around inventory, excessive work in progress, inefficiency of workflows that has to do with motion. So these are actually a lean approach. So when you're actually doing a project, you can actually decide that you would want to use the agile approach, or you would want to use the lean approach to project management. Any questions? Any questions so far? Okay, so
I want to
yes.
ask, like, how can the lean approach be used in Nigeria, like in Nigerian markets? Like, how can it be used?
What approach?
The lean
So if
you're talking about.
the lean approach.
I said,
Okay.
yes, how can it be used in the Nigerian market? Like, can you give an example?
Okay, so okay, for let's say for a typical Nigerian market, can you just give me an example of let's say what product that you're looking at, what type of project you are actually looking at?
I'm actually working in the oil and gas sector, so let's say something like Shell or Chevron in drilling of oil and gas. Like most oil companies are moving offshore. So like what is the lean approach that is making them to go offshore instead of staying onshore, which is on land?
Okay, so if you look at okay, so from your aspect, offshore, onshore. So onshore, okay, so offshore it's when it's the offshore is where the drilling happens, right?
Yes. Offshore is maybe drilling the ocean, like the Atlantic Ocean, while
Okay.
onshore is on land.
Okay. So normally for this sorry, just excuse me. Sorry for the distraction. I had people coming to my room. Okay. So for an oil and gas for an oil, for some of this lean project, right? In terms of the approach to for some of these approach when it comes to things around project management, the whole lean approach, right? So it depends on what you want to achieve. It depends. It actually depends on what you want to actually achieve, right? So the thing is, you can actually adopt the lean approach, right? Right. Uh, with regards to so let's say from when you're actually drilling, so things around on the drill. So let's say if you are drilling, right? There's the I'm sure. So if they come up, I'm not too familiar with when it comes to the oil and gas. I'm just trying to put it in a project manager context, right? So if you actually decide that you want to use, let's say you want to use a lean approach to let's say uh doing a drilling project, right? To do a drilling project. So let's go back to things around where we have the core principles, right? So the thing is, if you look here, it's actually saying that the value, what value, the value the customer wants is what they're actually looking at, right? That is actually key, right? You get my point? So was that Humphrey or Daniel?
Yes. I'm getting your point.
Yes. So it's actually the value that you actually want to derive from the whole project. So it's the value, right? So if you look here, right, identify what the customer truly value and are willing to pay. So if we are meant to, if you are drilling to, let's say you are drilling to, let's say about 50,000 feet, right? I don't think you want to go more than what the customer is actually requiring for. You get my point? So yes, I'm just trying to give you just a classic example, right?
Yes. Now I understand. Thank you. I understand now. Thank you very much.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this is so if you look, this is PMBOK and Prince 2, right? There's been a lot of contentions when it comes to these two frameworks. If you go to some organization, they've actually adopted Prince 2. So Prince 2 is more popular. It's actually popular when you go to places in the Europe countries. They normally adopt Prince 2, right? If you come to let's say if you come to North America, USA, those areas, they are the people who are more inclined to actually Prince to actually what's the name, to PMBOK, right? So if you look at how Prince 2 is actually, if you look at in terms of the focus, the structure, processes, certification, what is actually best suited for, right? So actually, if you are using a PMBOK approach, right? So you can look at it's best suited for large and complex unique project requiring adaptive guidelines, right? But if you look at Prince 2, Prince 2 is actually for any project type, especially those needing strong governance and control. So these are some of the key how do you call it, frameworks that an organization can actually adopt, right? So I can say that, okay, fine, my organization adopt PMBOK or is actually adopting Prince 2. So in essence, you can actually choose any of the frameworks which works for you, and you can actually adopt it within your organization, right? So in terms of let's move on. I think we are our time is actually running out. So let's look at the slides will be actually be available. So let's look at the tools for project management, right? How many of you have used Gantt chart before? Anybody has used Gantt chart before? Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen. Let me try and see if I can show you a typical example of a Gantt chart. So it's actually so let me try and show you. So just give me a second. Let me show you a typical example. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes.
Please let me know. Yes. So this is a yes. So
Yes,
this
yes,
is,
you can see it.
okay. Thank you, Daniel. So this is actually a typical example of very typical example of a Gantt chart. So this is like this is a Microsoft Gantt chart. So this is what you use to actually manage your project. I just got this online. I don't have a complete one. So this is actually what you can actually use to break your project into different milestones and to be able to monitor the project adequately. So you can actually, so if you look here, right? So we have tax. You can actually put in the tax when the project when the project starts, when it will actually finish. So you can actually look at the weeks. You can look at the how long that tax can actually be. You can actually also assign that project to, let's say, one of the team members, right? And this is what is actually used to monitor and actually track progress of a project. I hope this is clear.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So let me go back to my slide. Okay. Okay. So we have the Kanban board. I think I showed you what the Kanban board or actually look at. So they have actually different tools. I'm sure. So you can actually probably look. You can check this one out. Things around Trello, Jira, right? Jira is also one of the tools that organizations are actually use to actually monitor their projects end to end, right? So a lot of organization, sure, yeah, sure, George, this will be made available. So If you look at so their Trello, you can actually also go to what's the name? You can actually go on the net. Probably if you have any of the LM, any AI you are using, you can actually type Trello. I'm sure it should give you. I'm sure there's a free version that you can actually use. For Jira, I'm not too sure whether there's a free version, but I'm sure that there should be Asana, right? So these are like some of the tools that you can actually use to monitor your own project. So I'm actually showing you the Gantt chart that's for Microsoft. Keyman bot, this is more it gives you more like visual. So it gives you more visual, right, than the Gantt chart. We have things around different project dashboards that you can actually, use for some of the projects. So we have Monday.com. So if you can check online, Monday.com, Smartsheet. So these are like project dashboards that you can actually use, right, to actually manage your project end to end, right? So in terms of project monitoring, right, there should be also consistent status report. So there should be like a project tracker, status report that the project manager would probably would be sending to, let's say, the project sponsor on the update of the whole project, right? There could be some meetings that could also, this one could be we can actually use right now because there's a lot of collaboration, right? You can actually use either Microsoft Teams. You can use different. You can actually use Zoom, right, to have those meetings to get clarity. To actually get clarity, right, on some of the projects you're actually undertaking. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So let's look at things around key to successful projects, right? So as I earlier mentioned, right, in terms of best practice for projects, start with clear planning, right? You can't actually do a project without actually planning on the project, right? You need to choose the right methodology, right? You need to also choose the right methodology for your for the project. There should be things around continuous monitoring, right? How to monitor the project. So I earlier mentioned we looked at what's the name, things around the Gantt chart. There's Jira and the likes. You also need to manage your risks. You need to actually manage your risks, day-to-day risks for the project, and you need to address them. So you need to have like a risk register that you are using to actually manage risks. You need to also communicate effectively, right? So you can communicate either on Teams, it could be an email that you need to communicate to management or to the project team, right, around progress of the team. And things around empowerment, empower your team, right? You need to delegate, delegate activities to your team when you actually win on a project. So if you're able to meet some deadline of a project, there should be how do you call it, things around celebrating wins for different projects. So on the next side, things that would aid. So if you look at pitfalls to avoid scope creeps, right? You know, you might be doing a project, and by the time, right, that people will start having different. So if you look scope creep on an uncontrolled expansion of a project without adjusting timelines and budget. So these things you need to look at it carefully as a project manager. You need to also look at it carefully. Things around poor communication, right? These are some of the setbacks when it comes to neglecting risk. Right, I told you risks are futuristic, and every project there's also a risk in that project, right? There could be a risk of your people getting sick, the team member getting sick. So you might want to pair people within that same project. Unrealistic planning. So your planning of the whole project. So if this project is meant to be 10 days, you can probably look at it as a 40-day project. So there's a lot of things that actually go into into project, right? Okay, so so this is like a key wrap up for everything that we've done. So we look at things around what a project is all about. We've looked at what a project and what a program is all about. We've looked at things about rules and collaborations within a project, right? We spoke about agile and lean management. I've also shown you some tools. I've also talked about some type of risks around projects. So I am available for any questions, any clarifications. So for more knowledge, you can actually go to the PM book. You can actually look at things around the Scrum guide. You can look at things around Prince 2, right? For in terms of looking at the practice tools that you might use for projects, right? You might look at Jira, Trello, Microsoft Projects, right? So these are some of the things that you need to also look into, right? So what I'll end here is success is a journey, as not a destination. So this is for this is one key from Mark that talks about the secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into smaller, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one. So I would I'll open the floor for questions, any clarifications before we wrap up.
Thank you, sir. I want to ask, is Nigeria
Yeah.
using Prince 2 or PM Bulk?
Danny, you want to kill me off? You want to kill me out? I'm not too, currently I'm not too sure. So every organization, right? I don't know from a governance perspective, right? So every organization and the type of framework they would want to adopt, right? So if you look, so it's for people that have a lot of affiliations with people, a lot of organizations have affiliations with the US and the likes. Everybody want to be doing things around PMBOK, right? They would want to have that framework around PMBOK. People from people dealing from the UK, the Europe, and the likes would also want to look into things around. They'll say they are, as an organization, they adopt to Prince 2. So it depends on which one you feel is comfortable, which one is actually comfortable for the organization. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, Jackson, please. You have your hands raised. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to contribute to the last questions that Daniel asked. I mean,
Yes.
to also agree with some of the things you said. It depends on the organization. There are some organizations they do what we call an hybrid model or method of managing the different projects that come into their space, and then with that, man, they know the adaptation that they are going to use. Either they want to use Prince 2 or they want to use PM bulk and all that. So it depends basically what strategy, what are the kinds of project that they are handling, and how big, how small the project is, that determine the way forward in what they implement within the frame or within the time of such project. Basically, I mean, we cannot really say in Nigeria that it's more of Prince 2 or it's more of PM bulk. It's a combination of all of them, and it also depends on the organization that is operated. Thank you. I just want to make a short to that.
Thank you, James, for that. Yes, for that contribution. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any clarifications? Okay, so I would leave the floor to. Let me see whether they have anything in the chat. Okay, so George, is it possible to have a sample of this template? Okay, so I'm sure this will be made available. They will share the link. So I'm sure when you get, I'm sure Mercy will share all these things. So please, over to you, co-host. Thank you.
A round of applause to our trainer, Mr. Larry. Thank you so much. Thank you. I actually enjoyed your session. Please a round of applause to appreciate him for an excellent delivery of that session. Thank you so much. Please, I want to see our applause coming in. Let's appreciate our trainer. And just like he said, as usual, we are going to share the slides immediately after class. Okay, it seems like nobody wants to send in his or her reactions as to appreciate our trainer. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry. And without further waste,
thank you. Thank you. I can see some claps. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So without further ado, be introducing our second trainer who will be taking us on information technology and artificial intelligence. This session is very, very important. So please, as you were attentive in the first session, we also need your attention too in this second session. And the session will be handled by Mr. Adebayo Afuakpe, who will be taking us on information technology and artificial intelligence. Mr. Adebayo, please, if you can hear me, you can take it off from here.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And it's actually great being with you. Thank you for your time so far. And welcome to this session on information technology and artificial intelligence. This is not something new, a concept in which I'll say many of us are new to, but this is also an opportunity to actually at least get to know better about information technology in itself and artificial intelligence, as we always know, or as we know. For some people, artificial intelligence to them is just ChatGPT. Meanwhile, it is more than that, and let's explore together and share ideas on this. I'm open to learn from you as we go along the way, and I encourage that where we have questions, you also collaborate to respond. Thank you. So, for a start, let me even ask, how many of us are able to, or in this last week, how involved in what ways do we think we've been involved with either information technology or artificial intelligence? I may need to reduce this so that, okay, I can't see my screen, so I may not be able to. Please speak up since I'm actually sharing full screen. Can anyone share with me what do you think about information technology as different from artificial intelligence? Then in what way have you been involved with information technology or artificial intelligence in this last week? Anyone? Please unmute your mic and speak up.
Okay, can I say something?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so regarding the usage of artificial intelligence, I know that ChatGPT is an aspect of artificial intelligence. So I have used it almost every day for research purposes, for clarifications and for my own personal use. So I would say that I've been using it consistently.
Okay. Thank you, Mercy. Any other person? Part of our participants? Okay. So, thank you, Mercy, once again. During this course or during this session, we would actually be looking at various aspects, looking at what IT is and what artificial intelligence is, the foundations for information technology, artificial intelligence in a broader way, then how IT and AI are related to business, then the benefits and challenges. Finally, as managers, how this should actually help us, especially with the future. So for IT is really concerned. Information technology is really about the infrastructure, the hardware, software applications, the framework for which we use to process information. And I said framework because it's a combination of different things. While the infrastructure itself may look like the body, the software and applications look like the muscles, the blood of information technology is actually data or data. Now, if we really break them down, we have a couple of tools we have a couple of tools that we use. Mobile devices, systems, networks fall into this category. The software and applications that we use either in-house on our phones or for work fall into this. Then the various category of data sets that are available, whether structured or unstructured, all these help form the holistic part of what IT is all about. Now, when we come to artificial intelligence, this is built on the IT infrastructure in itself. That is, without IT, you cannot actually have artificial intelligence. And what is the key part of artificial intelligence? It's just about human beings looking at better ways to process ideas or get to improve their efficiency and bringing about interpret information. So as much as possible, what artificial intelligence does is looking at all the available data that is that has been provided to provide one, the required information that is needed. So we've heard of prompts. Some of us use prompts. Prompts are giving instructions to the AI system to actually help us check through the numerous data that has been exposed to give us the kind of result that we desire. So AI actually comes into effect in different ways. The three pillars being machine learning. Machine learning is the putting systems in place to learn from these and to give us the instruction, give us the feedback as I earlier explained, natural language processing actually comes in when we have things like voice recognition, voice assistance, Siri, and the likes, all helping us. This is machine understanding human language and being able to relate with us. For those who interact with Siri and the likes, you can have intelligent conversations with these systems or these systems, and they give detailed analysis of things, which helps us improve, for example, our knowledge base, our decision making, and also even aids how our work goes. When it comes to computer visions are actually around, I'll give examples like you have the biometrics, facial recognition. If you're in Lagos or in the top tier states that you have traffic camera, these are systems that have been put in place to capture information in forms of images, process them, and give required outputs as necessary. Now, when we come to the real-world application of AI in transforming industries and all, how does this really apply to the different sectors? In the financial sector, we'll have the likes of fraud detection and personalized. So, for example, if you're actually using your apps, AI helps track the kind of transactions that come into your banking, your bank accounts. Now, this is the financial institutions putting AI in place. One, for example, using customer service. You have the chatbots that can first respond to you before you then go to the actual customer representative, or also tracking to check for anomalies through algorithms, and then also monitoring for fraud detection. So, for example, with AI, in essence, we make faster judgments. Now, when it comes to healthcare, to reduce human error, we also have AI come in to assist diagnosis, prescriptions, and then even give alternatives where, for example, medication is being tested and you're actually looking for test subjects. With artificial intelligence, information, data around people in that having the symptoms, so the symptoms of the disease or whatever is being to be treated. For example, when COVID came in, I'm just using COVID, not that they used AI, but for example, when we had the COVID experience, this could have actually been put in the data collected about the symptoms of the persons could have actually been put into systems, and AI processes this, looking at the demographics of the people in that place. Now, while testing the results, the medication, the antidotes, the properties of this can also be put into the data set. And then the artificial intelligence is actually given instructions to check for how this applies, what are the possible symptoms or the reactions, what are the rates, detailed analysis around this, without necessarily putting human beings in that situation of test subjects. So you have pseudo test subjects that the artificial test subjects that are being used, even though sometimes this tool gives has its own flaws, because the human person's reaction may be different, but at least artificial intelligence helps reduce or give some bits of information as different from, and even as different from what we would get if we were to use human tests, and speed up time of getting things done. In the retail and e-commerce sections, we would have, for example, let me use, e-commerce. You get on the platform, any of them, and you begin to purchase something, or you click on an item, and the next thing you see, you begin to get suggestions around, those who bought these also checked these items, or those who checked these items also did this. If it is, for example, is it Netflix and the likes, you have, since you've watched this program, here are recommended programs for you. So this is AI coming in to help influence, recommend, and push to you things based on the pattern or algorithm it has actually noticed based on your footprints. Then in the manufacturing sector, we also have artificial intelligence coming in to assist with production, to assist in automation. This is actually where we have robotics and automation. We have companies that, for example, in the production of cars, robots are the ones who are assisting in getting this, the major manual work done with greater precision than human beings do. But at the end of the day, this is not replacing human beings, because the thing is, the regular, I don't want to call them mundane tasks, but the difficult tasks like carrying heavy burdens can actually be moved to machines, while human beings control the machines and also carry out other minor tasks to finish up the process. And this also gives us opportunities to actually concentrate more on other things than those things that we can actually push to artificial intelligence. Now, maybe I should ask, how much of us today in the 2025, if we remove artificial intelligence and technology from our lives, how convenient would life be in 2025 without technology in place? Response, please. Maybe in percentage. Hello?
I
Please, Daniel.
think life will be very I think
Sorry?
life will be very inconvenient. I said I think life will be inconvenience, like at least up to 60% inconvenience.
Up to 60%
Because
inconvenience. Thank you.
yes,
Because now, I don't know the work you are doing, but let's even look at something. Many of us use computers. Remove computers from our lives today. Remove mobile phones from our lives. Really, some people would almost go nuts if we have technology strike. So we can practically see that it's not just that technology, and now growing in artificial intelligence is becoming parts and parcel of our lives, and helping to make life easier for us, helping us with life choices. I remember, I know in some places now we have this, I don't know the specific name of the robot, but it's a cleaner that has sensors and cleans the house, not just sweeps the house or sweeps the floor, but mops it, disinfects the ground, and it has its own timer. Now, whenever it senses that dirt is on the floor, it comes out of its parking space, which is the charging port, goes to the dirt and picks up the dirt and throws it away. Now, for some people, it's not even AI now. Technology in itself, remove washing machine from their lives, and it's like you've added another trouble. Remove dishwasher from their lives. It's like, that is gone. So we understand how this has come to help us and to transform our daily lives in this particular time. So part of the benefits of AI at this point, or part of the key points, the key factors of AI presently is its ability to help us speed up life's processes. You don't need to begin to crack your head so much in creating some things. You can use prompts, you can give instructions to AI, you get what you need. Then there are two ways. Either you create it and you restructure it to perfect it with the assistance of AI, or AI gives you ideas in research, and that's continuous back and forth. You have this in education now, you have these learning programs that artificial intelligence will continue to teach you or guide you based on your knowledge skills or the level of the child. That is not replacing the teacher. Rather, that is all complementing education that is ongoing. So when it comes to AI and IT integration, now cross industry cases, I've actually mentioned the automotive system where we are having robotics coming into manufacturing. But if you are looking at our vehicles, we are already beginning to have not just electric vehicles, but self-driving vehicles. We are also having personalized content when it comes to social media or media, not just social media now. So media generally, that we noticed from the example of Netflix, e-commerce coming in. What's the name? If you go on Instagram, the pattern of pictures or contents that you search for, TikTok and all, they are the things that will continue to pop up, because this is what AI is trying to push to you. It's the pattern, except to change that pattern, it will not go there. Then energy saving grids. Now, in some places, and in some parts of the world, the monitoring of the infrastructure, the energy infrastructure, the smart grid is such that the level of energy consumption in an area is being monitored and regulated through artificial intelligence. So where there's need for more power is pushed there. Where when power is no longer needed at that high voltage, it reduces and moves to another place. I hope one day we will get there. Also, is this okay? Also, we hope, okay, so in agriculture, also going to structures or part of the sectors. In agriculture too, we are beginning to see where artificial intelligence is being used to monitor the soil health and the growth of the plants that are in place, the livestock and all. So all these are all about data being transmitted, artificial intelligence helping with the intelligence part to support our judgments and our processes. Now, what are the business values or key benefits of IT and AI synergy? When we bring in artificial intelligence, for example, into if we apply it to our finances, there is more likely or most likely to be revenue growth when this is being prompted by AI. Now, when we also have operational efficiency, not because we cannot do those things, but we have tools to assist us. And efficiency is actually part of the benefits of having information technology. Long before now, moving from typewriters to computers have actually aided us a lot in reducing, for example, the load of work we need to do, how we save the amount of paper that is being used, the energy that is being put together. Let's even leave typewriter to computers. Within the computer world, we've moved from the mainframe systems to the desktops. Now we are at the laptop levels. Some are even as we are now in the pads and still moving further. Technology is just going all the way. So as we said, can we really do without this, or how would this affect us, or in what ways we see the value of bringing this in? Now, when it comes to business in itself, the business value in itself, artificial intelligence and information technology have been able to help us with enhanced decision making. And that is based on different factors. Information is gathered not just based on industry, just industry-wide. We can also today, in the comfort of our homes, get to analyze information globally. For example, we are having a case. Let's say in law, you're having a case, and you're actually looking at how this kind of this scenario or this particular case, how often has it, or give, for example, how has this really replicated itself, or how can this be rated around the world? Not just looking at Nigeria. For example, we are saying kidnapping is a crime in Nigeria. How is kidnapping being rated around the world? Give it a global scale. Now, back in the days, we would say you'll be going to the library to go and do research. But in less than, let's say, 90 seconds, you already have the AI speak to this particular, begin to generate, even if it doesn't conclude it, begin to generate you results. Depending on your capability and in promptings and your questionings, you can actually get information that is global right at the tip of your hands. And this really enhances decision making. Now, when the truth is, we cannot have benefits without having risks. And sometimes these are eye-openers for us. Now, as managers, it is also important to look at the change management aspect. Like I said initially, artificial intelligence has not come to replace human beings at work. However, it is still important for us to upskill ourselves to get to know more about the ways in which we can use this for our benefits. So part of the major challenges we have, the risks with artificial intelligence is artificial intelligence, because we are very familiar with IT in itself. And at this point, we are not really having challenges around that. But the challenges are actually really coming in with the massive flooding of artificial intelligence, which we are having today. And part of the risks are data governance. Who is responsible? Who is monitoring? What are the regulations around artificial intelligence? Yes, decisions, rules are being put in place to ensure the ethical use of data governance or of data. Now, in Nigeria, we have the Nigerian Data Protection Act that also assists in ensuring that the data that we as data subjects put out there, our personal identification information that we put out there, should be used carefully and within the agreed framework that has actually been set out. Now, how do we also use information or use data? How the data we put into artificial intelligence? Don't let us forget something. To a large extent, whilst we have the machine learning, which is the system learning from data to process information it gets, to a large extent, it is training itself. So it's like, how will I put it now? When you have a dog and you have different data sets in terms of images, you are training the system now, or you are training a dog, and you are training the dog to sit, and you are rewarding the dog for every time the dog sits, right? With time, the dog knows or learns to follow commands, appropriate commands, and give the appropriate responses. Now, when it comes to AI, there is that opportunity, or the system learns from the different types of information it is given, both structured and unstructured. Now it is able to identify, classify, and also predict your responses. So for example, if you are using, whilst you are typing, if you are using prescriptive or predictive, not prescriptive, predictive keyboard on your mobile phones or on your systems, sometimes while you are typing, the AI bot there begins to complete your sentence for you. Now, you then decide if that's what it has given you right from the start is actually what you want, or you are changing it. So it is able to identify your conversations. It is able to continue from where you stopped. One of the beauties about ChatGPT, for example, is you can have different chats. You can come back months later and continue that conversation. All what you just need to look for is look for that topic, even if you're not even getting that topic in itself, based on the initial conversation on so and so. ChatGPT will go and look for that from all what you've actually conversed with it before and continue that conversation with you. So when we begin to put sensitive information into artificial intelligence, which is something that is wrong, we expose ourselves or expose our businesses. Now, those who would unethically use artificial intelligence can use this information against the person or the organizational entity. Now, part of the major challenges too is realizing the fact that those who are really skilled to manage artificial intelligence for the benefits of businesses at this moment are not so many. Whilst people are learning and keep learning, we are open to, because it's while we're talking about the skills, it's not just about the those who know how to use it, but good enough to prevent other people from mismanaging that. That also comes in. Now, in terms of cybersecurity, we already have, as we are learning to use it the good way, some people are always breaking the code, looking for the loopholes in artificial intelligence, looking for loopholes in what's the name, in information security or information technology, looking for loopholes and using the same artificial intelligence to generate ways to break into the various vulnerabilities that may be available in the global network. Now, we also understand that part of the challenges we have with artificial intelligence is even the kind of data that is even provided. The kind of data that the artificial intelligence was trained with. So, on the average, if you put into any of the AI platforms that you use, or you even go into Google and you search for pictures around something, to a large extent, it will be difficult for you to get an African, an Asian immediately. Most of the pictures you get are based on certain group. Now, in training artificial intelligence, data, the larger portion of data that has actually come in hasn't been inclusive as such. So except you, for example, if we are discussing in the medical field, which would speak to, and I'm actually saying this because it has its own nuances. It will speak to the different genetic models in different races. For example, how a particular disease or ailment will play out in race A as against race B, and their responses may be different. Their systems may be different. Based on the regions or the parts of the world, their exposures, their experiences, their environments. All these are pieces of information that we can't guarantee was global, whilst the artificial intelligence was being trained. So, in a way, sometimes the AI has biased responses, not because AI in itself is biased, but because of the information, the amount of data in which it was actually trained with. Possibly trained with certain segments more than having other segments. So those are areas too that globally are being worked on, and researches are ongoing to ensure that this we have more balanced information to train AI. So sometimes even when you're deploying AI in your organizations, you need to be able to now train the AI with your own data sets, so that it speaks to your own environment, it speaks to your own business. Now, as managers, what are those things that we are meant to do, especially when it comes to change management? And when it comes to adoption of artificial intelligence, people in a way get scared, especially when it comes to organizational processes. We've heard of organizations that downsize because of automation. So the question is, how do you avoid that? You upskill, you learn, you keep yourself up to date, you use information technology and artificial intelligence to the best of your abilities to be able to be relevant in your organization, in your sector, and then to improve your contributions to the organization, and especially in decision makings that is necessary. So in the next part, we've looked at where what IT and AI is, where we are with it today, and then we are looking at the future trends to artificial intelligence in itself. Now we have edge AI that would help us. We are looking at getting to that point where automation, we are having cloud AI in its generally, and cloud AI is what we are having, such as Google AI, ChatGPT, which other ones? Perplexity. These are things that you don't necessarily need to download to your systems. You can connect to the internet directly, connect to cloud directly, and get these systems in place working for you. The Internet of Things in itself. Now, when it comes to hyper automation, combining AI, machine learning, and robotics to automate our processes. This is actually going into the or leading us to that part where some of what we need to do, we hope and we are looking towards, not just with businesses, but even in our homes. We have some people use intelligent bulbs, intelligent plugs, switches. They can monitor the energy use in their homes from any part of the world with the use of their mobile devices. So we are getting to that point where a lot of people would be aware of these things and will adopt them to their personal lives, to their own businesses, and automate some of their processes when it comes to work, and then focus on that on the areas in which they then need to really contribute as human beings. So there are some things that can be done, automated. Emails come, for example, emails come. You don't need to sit down at your system and be looking out for every customer that is reaching out to your organization. You can already put your auto reply, a welcome message. Even on WhatsApp groups, this has been done. You have your auto response that goes in. You have chatbots that have been created to manage conversations, to move processes from stage 1 to possibly stage 1 to stage 5 before the human entity comes into play, even going as much as decisions being made. For example, process A, okay, let me give this. Process A, if process A is yes, move to process B. If process A is no, move to process C. If process B is yes, move to process D. If process B is no, move back to process A. Those things have already been put in place such that without human intervention, you already know that if you get this feedback, there is an automated response that will come in. And some of us are already doing teledoctor on telemedicine. You no longer know if you are on HMOs, or there are some HMOs, or there's some marketing products already, e-commerce products, that your interaction first is with a bot, and you're getting feedback on what next to do, even to the point of listing your needs or your complaints and getting responses based on global standard. Now, sustainable AI is another thing in which we are also to look into, developing AI models that help us manage the carbon footprints on Earth and manage climate change. So, whilst we are creating and committing to the use of artificial intelligence and what's the name? Information technology, we know that to a large extent, to power AI, it would consume a lot of energy. Now, how this will be managed, because if you say for organizations to run their own AI, it is something very expensive. But then sharing and buying or keying into processes or plans that are already in existence and running on platforms that are already would help reduce the carbon footprint. Then immersive technologies, we've come to the point, it's not new, but we are not there yet, where we already have immersive technologies to help us give us visual realities around concepts. I've heard of businesses where an interior decorator, an architect with interior decoration outfit that designs in their architectural structure when they are presenting, giving their presentation. It is not with or based on PowerPoint or CAD. It is actually with virtual reality. You are able to walk into the apartment. You are able to see the designs that they've actually put in place. You have kind of real life experience around that. And when you agree on all, business can always improve and all. So we are actually seeing where immersive technologies can help us in our learning, in our businesses, in all areas of our lives. Any questions, please? To be sure, I've not been speaking to myself. I've not lost you long ago, and I'm not alone in this class. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Mercy, you are speaking, but aside from yourself, the other participants,
I'm with you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. So our key takeaways as coming to this point, our key takeaways here is the fact that IT, we can firstly, when it comes to technology or in this particular space, IT is foundational. And for us to actually have, IT is foundational because, like we said, everything is built upon the infrastructure that IT has actually put in place. When we have the drones that are created, if you remove the artificial intelligence capabilities in the drones, they may not be able to do some things. But put them in, we hope and in sometime in the future, not to kick off all these Uber drivers and delivery, but maybe drones may be able to identify our homes and bring our packages to us. There are places in the world where they are using drones to deliver medicine, to deliver food packages, to deliver all sorts of things. Unfortunately, they deliver bombs. So that's technology. Data is the lifeblood of artificial intelligence. It's the lifeblood of IT in itself. And then whichever form of data, irrespective of the form of data that is available, artificial intelligence will work with it based on what it has been trained on. Now, if it doesn't have sufficient information, if it doesn't have sufficient data to work with, artificial intelligence can go wrong. So the fact that we always see that in ChatGPT, in Gemini, there's always that caveat that whatever information this is giving you, please go and check it out. It's possible. It's basically because the data in which it's been trained with may not have been how will I put it now? May not have been sufficient enough for it to give you that particular information at that point. However, when it comes to generative AI, that one thinks, identifies, how will I put it now? It learns and retrains itself. So you can actually interact with it in such a way that it looks for the information. If it doesn't find it, it uses the information it has as baseline and begins to give more like recommendations or new insights into that. So generative AI too has actually come, but generative AI is even down the line from machine learning. It's a subset of machine learning in itself. Then finally, as smart managers, we've actually said it is important that we successfully upskill ourselves to remain relevant, to be able to contribute to our organizations, and to also help others, not just ourselves, help others adjust to the information technology and artificial intelligence framework our organizations will be adopting. So at this point, thank you for listening to me. I would like to hear from you, your thoughts, your takeaways, and your questions. Thank you. Hello?
Please feel free to ask your question. The floor is open. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to ask this. What we call smart homes. Smart homes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like a person built a home. You walk into his house.
Okay.
Automated. The door opens. You speak to the television. Everything is synchronized, and doesn't have to walk into the television switch. It falls under what category, please?
The
Is it
category.
the hyper automated?
No. So in some places we have whilst that still speaks to hyper automation.
Okay.
You understand? But it's more like hyper automation is more of comes into production rather than just connectivity. For example, with artificial intelligence like Siri,
Yeah.
or I don't know specific names now, but I know there are some, there is the smart control, smart homes that have smart control. So there's a central box
Yes, sir.
that all those things are connected to.
Okay.
Just like I mentioned, we have smart switches. So these are plugs that are put into the connection points to read electricity. This one is not even to automate the home. But for example, the gas cooker, not the gas cooker now, the heater was left on, lights were on, someone had to rush out of the home, out of maybe during the day, and for one reason or the other, remember that, oh, the person could check the phone and just check the meter bill, the app, and use it to switch off everything that is on.
Yes, sir.
You get. And in
Yes, sir.
some other places too, something similar to, like, just like the smart homes,
Yes, sir.
you can actually control the whole house from being out. But there are challenges with that too. When hackers get hold of your smart home, you'll be the tenant.
Okay.
You get. So
Yes, sir.
even for example, even for cameras, and for those who, this is okay, speaking of IT too, having, what's the name now? Having CCTV cameras in the homes, you need to, whilst it is good that you have them for security reasons, their passwords, their codes, their IP addresses need to be changed, at least to the best of the ability of the person in charge of controlling them. These things needs to be checked such that they are not hacked into, and people's information are being stolen. So, for
Yes, sir.
example, even your system,
Yes, sir.
because this too comes to your system. Unfortunately, we've seen where cameras of laptops or CCTV cameras are turned on remotely,
Yes, sir.
and then people what's them? They are eavesdropping into conversations, either in businesses or at homes. So whilst we have the good sides of these things, we also need to look at the risks and how best we can actually mitigate them.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Not again from you.
All right. Thank you very much. And it was great having this session with you. Mercy, thank you for granting me the opportunity to do this. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adebayo. Please, a round of applause to him. Thank you so much. I actually enjoyed your session as well. Thank you. Okay. Okay. There's a question here, and this is going to be the last one for this segment. Mr. Adebayo, are you there?
Yes, please. I am.
Okay. The question says, how do you define the term IoT? That should be Internet of Things. How should you define that? IoT.
Yeah, the Internet of Things in itself is okay. Let's take the smart home, for example. So we have a network of physical devices using sensors, using networks, coming together to form, to access information and to give information. So, for example, when we look at part of IoT IoT is always related to connection to, like I said, networks. So connection to the internet. You have your automated vehicle that is connected to the GPS. It has sensors around it to identify when a car is close enough or too close for it to have an impact, or when it is safe enough for it to repack itself. Now, the vehicle is considered one of the IoT, falls under the IoT category. Also, when you are able to control your car remotely to come and meet you when rain is falling, and you can now access it. You don't want to go under it. That is one, external. Internally, we have your refrigerator that is able to analyze the foodstuff inside it and go shopping on your behalf. As in, make orders for supplies that are lacking in your refrigerator for it to be replenished. There are some refrigerators like that today. Likewise, so we have different devices in-house, out there, that are all related to having sensors connected to the internet, and they have softwares that are also helpful to help them make decisions or carry out tasks that they've been, not make decisions, carry out tasks that they've been designed for. So do you understand now? Let me see the question. Who asked the question? Rick, do you understand now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Adebayo. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying by up till now. I think it's high time we go for our short break. And just like I would always say, please do not go too far. We are going to be back at exactly 12:35 p.m. Nigerian time. 12:35 p.m. Nigerian time to take the last session for today. Please do not go too far. Thank you so much.
Morning. Yes. Okay, so good morning from here and good afternoon to you. Yes, I'm here. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. You can take it over from here. Ma'am.
Okay. Once again, good afternoon, class. And I would like Mercy, could you please share your screen? Because I don't have my laptop around and I don't have it.
Okay, let me call someone to do that. At the moment, I'm unable to share.
Okay, okay.
Mercy, I can share my screen. I will do that.
All right, thank you so much. You can go ahead.
Okay. So can we go to I think the third page, the beginning. So let's keep all that and go to the whole thing. I think the definition of what is legal and compliance, I think.
Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Please go to where you have the introduction of our course. Yes, thank you. Ma'am, you can take it over from here. Lost her. Please be patient while we try to get her back on the call. Dami, please, you can remain where you are. Let's try to get her back on the call. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Okay, thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry for the break. I think I had an issue with my network. So as Mercy said earlier, my name is Margaret Ejay from Ghana. And I head a business of Training Heights here. And I'm very privileged to be here to speak to you on legal and compliance. So legal and compliance refers to the process of ensuring a company follows all applicable laws, regulations, and internal policies to operate ethically and avoid risk. Okay, so we are now talking about two different, so in a company, we are talking about legal and then compliance. In some companies, they work together. You go and then you find legal and compliance at the door of a manager. In other companies that are heavily regulated and that are big in size, you don't find legal and compliance in the same room or the same department. They are normally in different departments. So the legal aspect, the major role is for them to adhere to laws. So their role is adherence to laws, regulations, and contracts. So in every business or organization, there are laws we are supposed to be adhering to. There are national laws, there are industry regulations, and there are policies of a company, of that business. So the legal department or the lawyer in that company has these roles to perform, to make sure the company or the business is adhering to the appropriate laws, the industry regulations, and the company's contract between its internal and external clients. So by internal clients, I mean the employees, and the external clients, depending on the nature of the business. Everybody has a client actually. So the contracts that goes in and out of the company is handled by the legal team. The compliance team also ensure company policies, codes, and standards are followed. Okay, so the legal team knows what the laws are. Their duty is to be interpreting the laws. And the compliance team is also supposed to make sure the company or the business is following the laws. Please, do we understand? Hello?
Sorry, can you take it again, please? Can you take it again?
Okay. I hear you. Your line is breaking, but am I audible enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm trying to bring the difference between the legal and the compliance. Since I have explained what the legal department or the compliance department is supposed to do and what their rules are. Please, do you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as I said the legal aspect of this is for companies to adhere to laws, regulations, and contracts. So the legal department typically focuses on protecting the company's interest and handling disputes. Okay. On the other hand, the compliance department is saddled with ensuring that company policies, standards, and codes are followed. Okay, so the laws that the legal department is supposed to be interpreting or understanding, he's supposed to also tell the compliance manager to know that this and this and this is what you are supposed to do to be able to comply to this law. So compliance is an independent function focused on adhering to rules and, if necessary, reporting violations to authority. So the rules are there. The compliance manager is supposed to make sure the rules are being adhered to. So if there are any violations, they report it to the appropriate authority. As in, if he's not supposed to be reporting it to departmental heads, because then they are the people violating the rules anyway and the law. So they report it to either the CEO or the board, that these are the compliance that are not being adhered to, the laws that are not being adhered to. So the functions of the legal department or the lawyer is to draft and review contracts, monitoring laws and regulations, risk management and controls, ethics. Sorry, the duty of the two of them So risk management and control, ethics and code of conduct enforcement, training and awareness. So while these two are related and often work together, legal focuses on protecting the company's interests and handling disputes, whereas compliance is an independent function focused on adhering to rules and, if necessary, violations to the appropriate authority, like reporting them to the appropriate authorities. So please, can we go to the next slide? Hello.
Dami, please, next slide.
Yeah, I just moved it. Do you want to go more?
Yes, please go. I think I've done this. So why it matters? Okay, so it's important to get your compliance right. I am going to focus more on the compliance because those are the people that are really responsible for making sure the company doesn't get into trouble. Because if they drop the ball, the consequences are really grave. Just a little, let me see, let's you sleep on your compliance duties, maybe with regards to your taxes, and then for a month, you can pay a penalty of so much. So the compliance manager is very, very important when it comes to these things. So I would want to focus on them. So the functions of the compliance manager, he establishes and maintains processes and procedure to ensure the company adheres to all external laws, regulation, as well as the internal directives. Their goal is to ensure adherence to all rules, identify and report non-compliance to appropriate bodies, act as an independent oversight function, which is why it's considered best practice for the chief compliance officer to report directly to the CEO or board and not the legal department, as I stated earlier on. So please, let's go to the next slide. Key risk in legal and compliance. So when there is regulatory non-compliance, there is going to be, as I said, the penalty is very grave. So you don't risk it. You make sure everything is in place. You are up to date with everything that you are supposed to be filing, you are supposed to be reporting, so that you don't get into your company into any form of trouble. There is fraud, bribery, and corruption, data privacy violations, contract disputes, reputation damages. So if, for instance, if you are supposed to I think there's this case study case study at the end of the slides, which talk about the Enron Volkswagen. I think their emission, they failed to meet, or they tried to go behind. They didn't actually stick to the regulation, but they did something with their system whereby it was able to reduce the emission on the cars they produced around 2009 to 2016. It brought a lot of embarrassment to the company. The reputation of the company came down because of these things. Your trust issues, when you're a company, you must make sure that you protect your image. You must make sure that your clients trust you enough. So if something like this comes up and you are fined, it brings a lot of financial burden onto the company. It also doesn't help you when it comes to your public image. So also contract disputes. You must make sure that your contracts, whatever contract you sign, you stick to them. you are compliant with whatever arrangement you have with any of your clients, and make sure that you don't do things that goes contrary to what the compliance laws or compliance policy states in your industry. Then your data privacy violations. Yes. So if you are not compliant with your data privacy and you go on to violate certain data protection policies or laws in your country, you will end up with a lot of problems. Your company could be shut down, you could be slapped with a very huge fine, which you might not even have the resources to, pay for or cater for. Yeah. So, and then fraud, bribery, and corruption. You must have certain policies that speaks to these things, because if you fail on some of these things, it's really going to hurt you as an organization. Okay, so please let's go to the next slide. Okay, so let's go. This thing will be explained later. So let's skip this slide. So the role of technology. So the use of IT to enhance regulation and compliance processes. So that is what it's talking about. So the role of technology, how technology is supposed to help the compliance manager to do their work, to make sure that they don't violate any policies or any laws or any regulations. So it is really useful for heavily regulated industries like the financial services, the pharmaceutical industries, the the health sector. Those are heavily regulated. So they are these they actually leverage on technology to help them to be able to keep up with their duties and their goals that they are supposed to be meeting. So what do you call it? Reg tech. So regulatory technology, particularly let's say the financial sector. Organizations are expected to communicate policies and procedures to the relevant employees. So the technology, and it could be an app, it could whatever technology it could be AI. The IT people know. Yes, it includes many features that should help you communicate policies and procedure effectively, fostering a culture of compliance. So if you have a good system in place, this should be able to help you communicate the policies and procedure effectively, because in compliance, certain people are put into certain positions to make sure certain things happen. So there should be communication, an effective one at that, for people to know what they are supposed to do at every point in time, because just a little oversight can cause the company or the business, the organization, a very big penalty, or a big fat fine will be slapped on the company just because one person didn't do their job. So when it comes to compliance, technology is very important. There's also timely updates and acknowledgements. So example again, in the financial services industry, updating policies on time and having those policies acknowledged in a timely manner are very crucial. So there must be time, what do you call it? Time bound. So whatever activity you need to do by way of making sure you are up to date with your compliance, tax, it could be tax compliance, it could be a whole lot of things, because let's say in Ghana, there was a time that banks were supposed to implement this ISO 27001, yes, Information Security Management Systems. It was a Bank of Ghana directive that all banks should implement these. I think they were about 2, 3 or so, these standards. So as a compliance manager, you should be able to communicate these things to your people, your company, and then when it comes up, you take the responsibility of making sure that steps are taken to comply with such directives. So having set some of these technological interventions in place will definitely go a long way to help the compliance team to maximize their productivity. Okay. The importance of this regulatory technology. It helps businesses manage complex financial regulations and stay compliant using technology like AI and automation. It also reduces compliance costs and enhances reporting accuracy. So please, let's go to the next slide. Hello, next slide, please. So the challenges. So there are evolving regulations, frequent evolving regulations in other jurisdictions. So like multinationals, they have companies in branches in other countries. So the compliance team would always have to make sure that wherever our business is located, it's a country by all means and is governed by laws. So we must be abreast with whatever applicable regulations that comes up. So people are always changing the laws. The laws, no, they don't change the laws. They upgrade it. They are bringing new regulations. You should do this. You should install this. You should get this application. Maybe it's happening in Ghana. It's not happening in Kenya. So if you are in Kenya, you think that, oh, it's fine. But whatever is happening in Ghana, if you are the compliance manager and you oversee all those other countries, you should make sure that whatever goes on in your industry, you are always abreast with it. The challenge is that sometimes it's difficult to keep up because things change every day. Regulations come out every day. There are threats, cyber security threats that also necessitate the need for some of these changes. So these you have to keep abreast with all the applicable regulations and carry on. Make sure you also communicate it to your business, the people that are supposed to be in charge. You communicate it to them so that everybody will be abreast with whatever is going on. So they must be able to stay current with changing regulations from a compliance perspective. The Chief Compliance Officer must keep abreast of changes in law and regulations. Okay, and there is also increasing cyber and data risk. So while companies focuses on adhering to regulations, risk management involves identifying and mitigating risk to protect an organization's digital assets. So I'm coming. Yeah, so the role of the compliance manager or the compliance department is to make sure that they adhere to laws, which helps in protecting digital assets and ensure data privacy. So for most regulated industries, compliance is not an option. It is a compulsory thing to do, because when you drop the ball on compliance, the consequences are dire, and it can actually bring the companies down to its knees. So multinationals, we have some of the benefits of this of compliance is like it protects us, the public protection. Like there's a regulation or a law that bars water producers to make sure they don't put arsenic acid in drinking water. There's also a policy or a law that also allows vehicle manufacturers to put in airbags in cars. Those are stuff that protect us. And then if you are in such an industry, example, if you are in this water producing industry, you should know that part of the regulations or the laws that protect that industry is that you're not supposed to, you have to make sure that you don't have water, you don't put arsenic acid in your water, or you make sure you take that out of the water you are manufacturing. In the same vein, if you are in the vehicle production industry, you also know that you must always install airbags in a car you produce, so that it will prevent the severity of injury when there is an accident or there's a crash. And also there's a removal of lead from gasoline. Those in the petroleum industry know that when it comes to some of these things, you must make sure you do your best to remove lead from gasoline, so that it will not pollute the environment and also corrode the engines. So at this juncture, I think I spoke about the negative, the Volkswagen emission scandal, due to weak compliance culture at the beginning. So Volkswagen violated the Clean Air Act. So there's an act called the Clean Air Act by the sale of approximately 590,000 model year 2009 to 2016 diesel motor vehicles equipped with defect devices in the form of computer software designed to cheat in federal emissions test. So there's a federal emission test, or no, there's a federal emission, what do we call it? There's a regulation on federal emission. So each vehicle manufacturer is supposed to meet that test and must be regulated by that act in the manufacturing of their cars. But I think, I don't even know the year, but VW violated it. And I don't even think it was actually a defeat device. So it was deliberate. This was a deliberate attempt. But then if they had a good compliance team, they would have been able to, caution them or warn them about the consequences of their action. So on that note, I think it's been a very short session. So if we are all okay, we can come up with our questions and answers. Questions, and I would answer them. But if not, then that will be the end of the session. Thank you very much. Hello.
Messi, I can't hear you. You are cracking. Oh.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, thank you very much, Maggie. Am I audible enough, please? Can you hear me from your end?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So thank you very much for that very brief but direct and insightful session. And I think we are at the question and answer segment. I think for every business owner or every aspiring business owner or an entrepreneur knows that we all have to abide by policies within the countries that we operate. And it's very important and key that we listen to your presentation today to take one or two things home. So thank you very much. Does anyone have a question for our trainer before we bring this session to a beautiful close? Any questions, please? Okay, so I suppose it was clear enough, and hence we do not have questions for you. So thank you very much. We appreciate the fact that you took our time to also share your thoughts and take us through this session all the way from Ghana. So thank you very much. And
welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome too. Okay, so we have come to the end of today's session or today's class, and Mercy obviously is having her a network glitch from her end, right? So I believe the few announcements she would have would be to encourage everyone to read up the materials we've studied so far or we've covered so far, because the test schedule will be drawn up and shared in the group. So everyone will be carried along and prepared for the tests. And then, of course, we all know that next year we'll take the exam for this semester. Next year, January, we take the exam for this semester, but we'll take all the tests this semester before we go on holiday. So Damilola, I think a request is being shared in the chat room for the attendance form link. So please reshare that in the chat room. Okay, and then any information that is being put in the WhatsApp group, please let's take our time to read and comply as much as possible. So thank you very much, everyone, for being with us up to this very time. And we'll meet you again, or we meet you again virtually next weekend. So do enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful and great time ahead. Stay happy and stay blessed. See you again next week.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. The attendance is in the chat room as well as the feedback link. Do well to fill it up. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your weekend.